Hi, my name is Norman McCorkle, 28 years old, former bodybuilder, doorman, and I love Jesus Christ. My life changed January 2004 whenever I handed my life over to Christ. Formerly, I didn't believe that Jesus was the Son of God and that He died for me up until I realised how lost I actually was. I guess I was a true prodigal. Lived a very, very selfish life. And really, it was all about me. I came from a Christian home and I never really considered truly what it meant to know Jesus. After all I was told and after all the preaching, it took me 26 years to realise how much Jesus loved me and how much life in abundance there was for me. I spent many years training, taking things I shouldn't have, living a very reckless life. And you know, there's a story in the Bible quite like that in Luke 15 about the prodigal son. The prodigal son, it says in there that whenever he finally came to his senses, and that phrase was for me, whenever I finally came to my senses, Jesus came and met me where I was at. My life has changed dramatically. I'm involved in Strong Words. I'm involved in Exodus, Coleraine. I'm a volunteer now with Prison Fellowship. I help my dad and sterling work within the prisons in Northern Ireland. The Lord has changed my life, and all I can say to you is that life is in abundance now. True life is found in Jesus Christ. And all I can say to you is it's overwhelming to talk about this because of the change, and not only my life, but the team that I'm involved in here. There's so much more to be done, and I just hope that I can someday meet you and tell you face to face about the love that Jesus has for you, because it's just something so awesome that we're just not going to capture it all here in this short space and video. Thanks for listening.
My name's Wayne Stevens, and I have been a Christian for nearly 2 years now, and it's hard to really put my finger on one single thing that the Lord has done for me. But if I had to, it would be He has removed the mask from me and allowed me to be the person that He intended me to be. I wake up every morning and I thank God, and I give my life to the Lord every morning, and I just thank Him that I've got a smile on my face, because I spent so long trying to put a smile on my face, and I tried lots of things. I tried drugs, alcohol, womanizing, materialism. All these things brought me very temporary happiness, but not joy. I never felt joy, never something that would last. And the moment I gave my life to the Lord, I knew that something very special had happened in my life. And for Him to reveal to me the true purpose in my life is just an absolute blessing. And I'm so grateful. And being part of the Strong Words ministry just allows me to go out there and just let people know the amazing difference that the Lord has made in my life. The amazing change, the blessings in my life, just meeting all sorts of different people, going to prisons, going to schools, going to drug rehab centres, looking people square in the face who are off their heads on methadone and letting them know that life doesn't have to be like this. And just knowing that the Lord has prepared their hearts, and you see a smile on their face as something clicks. And just reaching out to one person makes all the difference. And I live my life for the Lord. I know that my journey has just begun, and I know that I'm not where I need to be, but I thank God every day that I'm not where I used to be. Cheers.
Well, I'm just here to share a bit of my own story. Unlike the rest of the guys from Strong Words, God's had his hand on me for a lot longer. I made the decision to give my life to Christ at the age of 10. Some people think it's quite young, but that decision came to me at a time when my family was in chaos, and at 10 years old God revealed his true power to me. He proved to me that he could heal an alcoholic, my father. He could prevent my parents' marriage from breaking up, because that's the stage they were at. And at 10 years old, God gave me a gift that I hadn't experienced before. That was hope in my life, and knowing that I've got a future and a plan, and that I could actually be something, be somebody. As I went on, I knew God's hand in my life. God's hand was upon me in school. He supported me through times when most people find it really hard to be the person they want to be. And being an individual can be hard, but being an individual who believes in Christ was rewarding. And I thank him for that. I thank him for giving me strength and purpose. As I developed as a Christian, I had a hunger for power, a hunger for knowledge, and a hunger for the things of God. And the physical side, I then needed an outlet, and that's where my involvement in the weights began. I started training regular, and it gave me a social circle that didn't include drink, it didn't include temptation, because growing up as a young Christian in the area where I grew up, my friends were getting involved in joyriding, in paramilitaries, in drug taking. I lost good friends through punishment killings, through overdose, through being sent away to young offenders institutes. And in all of that, I still knew a peace, because I knew that God was an answer to me and to my friends. I got to serve God at a young age. At a very young age, I threw myself into being a servant, and whatever way I was allowed, I took the opportunity to be the best that God would allow me to be. That has been a longing in my life, is just to be the best that God will allow me to be. And because of that, I believe that he's blessed me. God's hand has always been upon my life since the age of 10 years old. I have made mistakes, and I have failed him, but he never once has turned his back on me. He's never once failed me. He's never once left my side. No matter how much I kicked or screamed like a spoilt child and rebelled against him, his hand of protection was upon me. This website and the Strong Words Ministry is for one reason, and that's to serve God, spread his word, and try maybe just to tell other people about what they can experience through Christ. I hope you get the message. I hope you see the truth.
My name is Billy Morgan. I'm a member of the Strong Words team. Going back to when I was a youth, I was a pretty strong person. I was Royal Marine, served in the army here in Northern Ireland. As time moved on, I came out of the army and got involved in bodybuilding. Became Mr. Northern Ireland, Ireland's most muscular man, Mr. Ireland. And in 1984, I went to Mr. Britain, and I won an award for the most outstanding bodybuilder that year at the Mr. Britain contest. Although I was involved in bodybuilding, I was still suffering from a long-term illness known as Crohn's disease. And at one stage my weight dropped from 14 stone to 5 stone 12. But through the help of the gym and friends, I continued in bodybuilding right up until 1989. As my bodybuilding came to an end, my social circle changed. The people that I ran about with changed. The things that I did, the places I went changed. And I found myself drinking a lot, getting involved with drugs, alcohol. I lost my home, became involved with the travelling community. Some of the people I was involved with were also using drugs. I remember thinking at the time I would never want to be involved with drugs, but as time went on, I found myself using cannabis, amphetamines, ecstasy, LSD, and eventually, after a few years, it led to an addiction to crack cocaine. That was a period of about 10 years in my life which were very difficult. I lost my family, I lost my home, and I moved in with the people from the travelling community. Underneath all of this, my illness was still there, getting worse, until a point in 2002 when my spine collapsed and I was admitted to Musgrave Park Hospital. I remember at that time an old friend from my bodybuilding days came to visit me in the hospital and told me how he had become a Christian. To be honest, at the time I thought to myself, it's not really for me. I was in enough trouble without worrying about God. But after he left that day, I remember thinking, you know, what was this God thing all about? So there, lying in my hospital bed in hospital, alone, afraid, depressed, I gave my life to God. And I entered on a path that was to change my life. I went to a small Pentecostal church in Ballymena and got involved with the outreach there. Cutting grass for old people, delivering furniture, delivering groceries. Just generally trying to help out, speaking to young people about my experiences with drugs and alcohol. That led me on to start a ministry called Club Reach, which is street work in Ballymena, where we set up a table outside some of the main clubs in Ballymena and give out tea and coffee and just share with people what God had done in our lives and the grace of God in our lives. Club Reach now has 3 teams, one in Ballynahinch, one in Ballymena, and it's just started a new team in Manchester. But life moves on, and I went then to work full-time in ministry in an organisation called the Wash Basin in Ahaupel, and I spent a year there. But you know, God gave me those experiences with drugs and all for a reason. And just in the last few months, I've gone back to the drug scene, but this time as a drug outreach worker in Ballymena, where I work with high maintenance addicts. And over the last few months, I've had an opportunity to share with people the one way to be free in this life, free from drugs, free from alcohol, and from all of the things that the world has to offer, and that freedom comes through the Lord Jesus Christ. Strong words came through a meeting with Sid, who I'd known for a long time, and it's been a blessing to me. We've had some great experiences together, being in McGilligan prison and a few churches and a few youth groups. And I know that my future with Strong Words is looking good, and I'm looking forward to the future. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Sid. I'm 43 years of age, and from the age of 11 I started doing weights, started training. By the age of 18 I was competing, I was doing powerlifting, I was doing bodybuilding. But the problem was, I always knew there was something missing. Later on I started to get involved in the door work, started to get involved in the drug scene. I was taking steroids to compete, to try and get more and more and more. The only trouble was it was always superficial. I was always trying to strive for something, I could never figure out what it was. For years and years, done the door, got had some very, very dark nights, real dark nights, and some very dark days. Things got rougher and rougher and rougher. And I just knew that something was going to give one night. And it did give one night. I remember it specifically. And it was a night that did start to change my life. The only thing was, a few years later, it was whenever I turned around and I met God. And that was the biggest buzz I had ever got. No matter what the drugs were I'd taken over the years, no matter what violence, whatever I'd done, the competitions I'd won, shows, everything, it didn't compare to what I got from whenever I gave my life to Christ. And we set up the ministry, and we go around now, and we preach, and we give weightlifting demonstrations, but it's all to glorify God's name. That's it, baby.